ladies. I'm Rosalind, and I'm the creator of Chime Sis. Today, we have with us the phenomenal Stephanie Pigues, and she is a political director. She's going to be telling us more about her journey to becoming a political director and how that contributes to her overall sense of fulfillment. So let's go on ahead and jump right into this. Stephanie, if someone narrated your life, who would you want that to be?
Well, I'm just super excited to be catching up with you and chatting. We go back. So I'm super excited. You and my husband actually go back, not even us.
Yes.
You and your husband, my husband, decades. But if someone narrated my life, I would need it to be Cecily Tyson.
Yes.
And I would need the voice that she brought in Medea's family reunion when she was just brothers. I need the Cecily Tyson to narrate my entire life story.
Yes, and she's really eloquent, but then she has you know how people have that soft voice that demands attention? It's oh, she's whispering. Right. She really means business. She means business.
Such a commanding presence. And I feel like she would just bring the right amount of sass and soul to whatever. And I thought she would understand my life story and give it so much meaning.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So let's go ahead and jump into our second question. So share your journey to becoming a political director.
The most unorthodox journey. So I really believe in the whole Enneagram thing. Mm-hmm. And I know people are oh, what's the difference? But it just helped me so much more understand my thought process and my work process. And so I'm a type 2 on the Enneagram scale, and I'm just a super planner, mm-hmm. super, wanting to help, wanting to have my life, figured out. And so my whole plan was go to law school, become an attorney, make partner, just a very typical, I was going to, work with, I really loved employment law. I wanted to do that. That was kind of my trajectory. So when I was getting ready to graduate, I had a class called Race in the Law. And my professor was you like politics, right? And I was I watch CNN, I'm as informed as I read. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. And she's you should write a paper about what's going on in North Carolina and their election issues. And I was the only thing I know about North Carolina is my husband and boyfriend at the time lived there. I'd never been, I'd never visited. So I was I have nothing to do with North Carolina, sis. But if the person who's grading your papers tells you to do something, I was sure. So I started researching into North Carolina election law, and about 300 pages into this different Supreme Court decisions. I was oh, these people here are crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were targeting Black and brown neighborhoods and making it harder for them to vote very specifically. The Supreme Court said, with surgical precision, they're making areas with predominantly Black and brown populations. They were just making it extremely difficult for them to vote. And I was well, this is wrong, and I don't like it.
Was this in current, this was current day too?
Yeah, this happened in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah. This is not oh, they were, your grandpappy couldn't do this. No, this is recent, where they were closing down polling places, where they were, making it harder. They, people who had industrial jobs, they would make sure that the polls closed at 5 because people who worked at the factories 9 to 5 didn't get there.
That is crazy. Mm-hmm. That's crazy to see how, you hear about those things, like you said, with your grandparents and great grandparents. It's it was so hard for us to vote. And then to hear that things like that are still taking place, it's we've come so far, but we still have a ways to go. And so just continue to push forward. But that's crazy to hear that there were barriers that were still put into place, recently. That's crazy to hear.
Yeah. And they were working extremely hard at it, because the areas that this was happening, they knew what were the predominantly African-American or Hispanic neighborhoods, that they already have, transportation issues. A lot of them work different, minimum wage jobs where you have to work longer hours. And so they were really strategic about what they did. So after writing this paper, I was like, I should move to North Carolina.
Okay.
Like, was not in my plan. Terrence, who's my husband now, was here, but I never planned to move here. Like, we were doing long distance. We were kind of going to figure it out, but it wasn't like any urge for me to move here. But after writing that paper, I was like, oh, like I'm going to just go and help and work, you know, for the 2018 election and just go help the situation. And so 2 weeks before graduation, I applied for a job, interviewed, and moved to North Carolina. Like, all my bags were packed to go back to Florida, which is where I'm from.
Yeah.
And so at, you know, the drop of a hat, I moved here to be an intern. Like, I had 2 law degrees.
Crazy.
And I moved here as, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're leading up to graduation, and all my friends are talking about signing these $125, $150 salaries. And I'm like, I'm going to go intern for $500 a month.
Yeah. How was your internship experience when you moved to North Carolina? How was that for you?
It was amazing. It was everything. You know, I have to also credit my mentor, who was my boss. When I came, he didn't treat me like an intern who like was given menial work. He very much so like brought me in on the process and treated me like a partner. And that's just so valuable, I think, in any job that you're in, to have someone who really values you and doesn't treat you like a subordinate, but really like values your work. And so before the summer was over, I was actually hired on for a full-time position.
That's awesome.
So it was really just a step of faith where I thought I was going to do this very traditional thing. And I just had to not let myself be scared and like do something that I know was really going to make me happy.
That's awesome. And I think I think too, where you were talking about, you know, how you made the leap and, you know, you left for an internship, you know, I think that a lot of us in this period of transition, like you said, I think it's just getting to that point where you're ready to take that leap. Like, even for myself, you know, trying to figure out what's going to be next for me. Do I stay in this field? Do I go into another one? But hearing your story as to, you know, where you did take the opportunity to be an intern, it's like, okay, like, it's okay if I do take a position like that, and if it's something that I enjoy doing, because, you know, like you said, you know, we'll never know what we like to do until we try it. And like, you know, how you ended up in it, you know, it started with your professor presenting that opportunity to you, and then it blossomed into what it is today. And so I think that it's really cool to hear, you know, that you did take the internship and then it did turn into a full-time position, and that you have found your love for, you know, politics through all of your experiences with that. So I think that that's really awesome. So how has the work that you've done impacted your life personally and professionally?
Oh, I think it's impacted me personally because I get to wake up every day and I love what I do. I might be tired. My whole body might hurt because it is exhausting. There is no work hours in politics. It's not a 9 to 5. It's whenever, wherever, you know, the situation arises, you just have to get it done. But personally, you know, I took a break from politics for actually about a year after the 2018 election. Nobody gets into politics for the money. Just let's be very clear about that. The reason you go into politics is not to cash out.
That's crazy. I never would have known that. Honestly, I never would have known that.
Yeah. I know, like, on Scandal, like, you're like, oh, she's doing this. Like, she looks bad. She's got all the Manolos and the red bottoms. Like, no, you don't. I've never met anyone who's went to politics who's like, oh, the salary. Like, not what you go into politics for.
Okay, that's good to know, because it's like, man, maybe I'll go there and make like a lot of money. No, no.
No, they call it public service for a reason.
There we go.
And so I was just kind of at a point in my life where I was like, look, I got this law degree. I have student loans up the wazoo. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was about to get married. And I was just like, I need to make some money. So I left and went and did the law thing for a year. And I woke up every day and I hated it. Like I would,
Mm-hmm.
like my day was done at 5. As soon as 5:01 hit, I closed my laptop. My weekends completely to myself.
Oh yeah.
I had a company card, frequent flyer miles, was that like life was really nice. I'm not even gonna say like life was really
Lavish.
great. But I hated
Oh.
waking up every day. And so personally I was dying
Mm-hmm.
inside, while even though professionally people would be like, oh, sis got it like that, I see her
Mm-hmm.
flying first class and this and that, like, oh, she's got it. But personally I literally felt like I was withering, and it just wasn't worth it anymore.
That is crazy. That is because, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
on the outside, from the outside looking in, everybody's probably like, oh, like you said, she has it going on. They're kind of thinking like, oh, I wish that I had, what she has. And then, like, when you start talking to you and talking about how you really feel about it, you're like, hey, it's not as glamorous. Like you said, in the political realm,
Mm-hmm.
everything is not as glamorous as it looks. And so that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that once again, it's just a testament to that fact that we're all on our own journeys, and we figure out, what's best for us, and what's best for us is really truly what's good for us. And so for one person that may have been great, but for you, that wasn't, that wasn't your calling. That wasn't your purpose. It wasn't aligned
Mm-hmm.
with your passion. But the fact that you were able to go through it and now you can talk about it, I think that that's really amazing too. Because I think it's a great to have an example of someone who has tried something and then changed it up, because a lot of times I feel like we get stuck sometimes, like feeling like we have to do certain things. And so to
Yeah.
hear people who say, hey, I tried it, I didn't like it, I did a pivot, it's like, okay, if she did that, then I can too. So I think that that's really nice that even though the experience, I don't think that you liked it, I don't think that you enjoyed the entire experience, but just to be able to have that story and to be able to share that with people, just to reassure them that it's okay to pivot. I think that's beautiful, honestly.
Yeah, and it's scary. Like even for me, I had done all this school. I had gotten to all this debt saying that I'm going to become a lawyer. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to
Mm,
practice. And while I still use some of the skill sets, I'm not seeing clients. I'm not in a courtroom. And to kind of give up all of that hard work, and
yeah.
it's scary. You're like, I've worked my whole life for this. Every internship that I've done, everything I even did in high school was leading up to me being an attorney, and now I'm going to turn my back
Yes.
on 10 plus years of work. That's insane.
Yeah. 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 It's and
And
honestly, I feel like I'm in that space that you're in. That is kind of the space that I'm in, just really trying to understand. And like you said, it's really getting out of that mindset. Like, it's not a waste, even if you did go to school and you did a pivot, if you didn't waste your experience, you didn't waste anything. But I feel like I'm in that same space that you are, just really
yeah,
trying to figure out, what's going to happen, what's going to be next for me, and what's going to be good for me. But also, understanding that, like I said, that the time is not a waste. I haven't wasted my life away. I'm still young. We're still young. We
yeah,
can do whatever it is that we want to do.
right.
And so just getting into that mindset. But I love it that you can speak to the fact that it's okay to pivot once again, because I feel like I'm in that same space.
And honestly, what God has for you is for you. Like if you would have told me even 5 years ago this would be my life, that I would be a political director for a major candidate, that I would be doing this, I would be like, absolutely not. I'm
Yeah.
not set
Yeah.
up for that. That is not in my plan. But like, I truly believe like what God has for you is for you. And like being able to really let go and let God, I think is what has led me here, because it couldn't have been me. I don't have the intelligence, the savvy, or the know-how to have like strategized my way here.
And I love it. Oh, yes, the strategizing. When I say, I feel like we have a lot of like similarities, even though we were in two different fields. I was telling my husband the other day that I was a kid. Did you used to play MASH? Like when you,
Yes,
okay.
of
So I was the
course.
girl who would play MASH, and baby, if I did not get what I wanted, I was going to play it again and
Again,
again and again.
hello.
And so like, everything was really streamlined. I knew what I wanted to do when I was a kid, or I thought I knew what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, everything was, back to back. It was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and this is going to be the effects. I'm going to keep going until I reach my goal. And so then as, once I grow up and I get some experience, like you were saying, it's like, I don't know if this is it. You know, it's not like the MASH game. I thought I wanted all of that. I thought I wanted all of it. And now I don't think this is all that I need. So yeah. So I think that we definitely have a lot of commonalities in our experiences just with that, and then some other things that we've shared too. So let's talk more about elections. So what are some effective strategies that you've seen that increase voter participation in elections?
Peer-to-peer organizing. I mean, honestly, I have participated in phone banks where you get a random list of numbers and you call them, and I go like, hey, I'm Stephanie. I'm just calling to see if you're going to vote. And people just click. But what has been most effective for me is three of my friends and I started a podcast called Young, Black, and Political, where we just get on and we talk and we share it with our friends. And I've gotten so many responses of people saying, I signed up to be a poll worker because you said that they need poll workers and this is what poll workers do. I checked my voter registration status today and I found out I was inactive because you said so. One person just having genuine conversations with their friends and their networks is the most effective thing that I've seen. Because we have a relationship, right? You're going to trust a little bit more than what I'm saying than if you just see it on CNN. And we're able to also have real conversations. I've had conversations with people like, why do I really need to vote?
Yes.
And we're able to break it down and, actually talk about it instead of it being some random person calling you on the phone or seeing it on TV. You can have real one-on-one conversations. So that is the most effective way of getting out the vote, is literally calling your people. That's why I tell people, call your friends, your live sisters, your cousins, your whoever, and tell them like you need to vote.
Yeah, and that's awesome. The crazy thing is we just hit on my second question, which is going to be, what are some things that you do to help with some of the voter participation and turnout? And I love it that you said making that personal connection, because like you said, I mean, it's that is going to be the thing that's going to take it up, because like you said, you already have a rapport built with this person and they trust you. They know your character. They know that you're not out to sell them anything. You don't have a hidden agenda. You're literally just trying to give them the information in hopes of helping them to make an informed decision. And so I think that's awesome that you are, one, doing that in your own life, but two, that you've also recognized that there are other people in the political realm who are doing that as well, which is creating those relationships peer-to-peer and really trying to influence them to, like I say, make that decision to vote.
And you don't even have to be, I'm sorry.
Oh no, keep going.
No, and you don't even have to be in the political realm. If there's someone who's running for school board or county commissioner or mayor or whatever that you really believe in, tell your friends about them. Tell your friends, like, listen, there's candidate so-and-so who I heard speak, and I think they're amazing and they're going to make a difference for our community. You should look into them. You should, vote for them for these reasons. Like, if there is an issue or a person that you are passionate about as a candidate, like, you don't have to be a political expert. You don't have to work in this realm. It's really, people want to just hear your opinions and want to know why you care. And, people know that, yeah, I work in politics, but like, I come at it like, I care about this election for these reasons, whether I worked in politics or not.
Yeah.
This is just what it means to me. And this is what it should mean to you if you believe in, these certain things.
That's awesome. So okay, so this is really weird, because I literally asked my husband, I said, hey, if you could ask someone who works in the political realm, like, a question, what would it be? And the one question that he did bring up was, why do you care? Like, what are your reasons for, being in this world of politics? And so the fact that, like I say, that you are already doing that, you're making connections with people, you're talking about the reason why you are here and the causes, the problems. I think that's really nice. Once again, I think that it's just so big and it's so important to continue to make those relationships, and then, like you said, to make your stance clear. It's not like you said, you're not trying to push them or anything like that, but you just really, you do care about the issues, and you care about the people too. You care about the fact that they have the ability to voice their concerns or and do that in different ways. So I think that's really awesome. That was crazy. Like literally the fact you just talked about that, I'm like, okay, this is weird because that's exactly Okay, so outside of the amazing work that you do, what are some of your other personal or professional interests?
Personal interests. I am a true crime junkie.
Okay.
I think that I probably should have gotten a degree in like psychology or something, because I will spend hours like researching like cults or like serial kill. Like it's so weird, but like the psychology of how people fall into those traps, like not like the women who just like get grabbed and killed and things like that, unfortunately, but like especially how people like fall into cults. I'm like fascinated.
Yeah.
Like how does someone tell you that like there's gonna be a second coming of aliens and they're the only ones who can save you, and like you sign up for this? How? So yes, that is a hobby. I don't know if that's a real hobby, but that is a hobby.
Oh, it is. Oh, it definitely is. Do you listen to like podcasts for that? I've heard that there are some different podcasts and
all of them.
Okay.
All of them. And my poor husband, when last night I was not feeling well and I was like curled up in bed watching Snapped or my wife, one of those shows like on Discovery ID, he's like, how are you falling asleep to this? They're talking about like how they cut her up into a million pieces and put her in a fridge. And I was like, you don't find this soothing to go to bed to? And he's like, you are weird.
You're like, you don't find this interesting? Like, this is cool. This is fun.
I was like, this is just some nighttime listening. And he's like, you're listening to how they chop the woman up. And I was like,
this is great.
It bothers you before bed? What? So he was like,
that's crazy.
I don't listen to this before bed.
That's crazy. So I know if I need to send you like a random gift, I'm going to send you like some crazy book about somebody who is like in a cult or something.
All of them. It's an obsession. Like I drive home to Florida a lot, and that's like 12-hour drive, and I will be listening to like true crime killer podcasts the whole way. And he's like, you don't get tired of this? I was like, nope.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy. I definitely never would have expected that you actually enjoy that, but I will tell you that I know of a couple people who do. It is, like you said, it is kind of cool to learn the psychology behind it. Like you said, what was going on in your life or in your head for you to like think that this was okay? Like,
right.
The only thing is I always get nervous that I'm going to like self-diagnose myself because, I think that I'm WebMD or like, I'm like, just like, oh, if they're crazy, I must be crazy too. Oh, so yeah,
Oh, well, now I'm always like, when I see other people, I'm like, they have a disorder. I'm telling you, it's this, that, and the third. He's like, what? And I was like, honestly, I missed my calling and going to become like a psychologist.
There we go. Hey, maybe that's what's next.
But you never know, honestly. Like going to school for a few more years doesn't say anything to me. Like Sally Mae can't get these coins while I'm in school, so I just might go back.
Listen, go on ahead and get that other degree. We're ready.
Right.
So what does, if someone were to ask you what fulfillment looked like for you today, what would you say?
Oh, fulfillment to me, different things fulfill me. Being a wife is really fulfilling. I didn't know it would be.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to end up on one of those true crime shows. I was like, listen. But like, because we moved in together, got married, and then got put into quarantine all within 30 days. Like,
yeah, that's a lot.
We didn't live together before. So we moved in on 1 week, got married the next week, came back from our honeymoon, and were told we were stuck in the house with each other for the foreseeable future. And I was like, oh, I can't even leave the house. Oh, and now I'm stuck with him. Like, and I love my husband, but being, never living with a man before and then being told you have to be together 24/7.
Yeah, it's a change. It is. It's definitely a change.
Was earth shattering. And I'm an only child, so I don't know what it is to live with anybody.
You're like personal space. Whoa, personal space. Whoa.
Right. And my parents worked all the time, so I always had the house to myself. So now I'm like, oh wait, there's people. Whoa. But it honestly has been one of like the most fulfilling things that I have ever done is being a wife and being a mentor and the best part of my job is when I get to, I feel like, give people a voice. When somebody calls me and they have an issue and I can help them resolve it, whether it's they don't know who to contact about a street light that's gone out in their neighborhood and they're worried that their son is playing outside and the street lights aren't working, and I can connect them to the right people, or, someone is worried about who to vote for or whatever, just being able to help people who have been systematically overlooked, like that to me, like, it just makes my warm and fuzzy.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So I want to know, okay, so how do the work that you do, who you are today, and your passions and interests, how do they all come together to contribute to your overall sense of fulfillment?
I think they all come together because I think the person that I am and the work that I do and the things that I love the most and what I love about all, things in my life is just the fact that I get to be a giving person. Yeah. I am not one who could say, like, I've been blessed with beyond measure with, amazing parents and a great education and, just amazing opportunities. And I am very, very humbled that I get the chance to, I think, give back for a living. That, like, part of my job, while people think politics is dirty and it's all about the moving and the shaking and it's a power grab, like, I think any job is what you make it.
Yeah.
And, my goal is not to be senator, congresswoman, president, whoever. Like, I'm not one of those people who's, like, trying to go for the power or the status. I could care less if anybody ever knows my name. But the fact that everything I get to do is rooted in some kind of giving is what makes me happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And there's something for everybody. And, some people it's getting to teach. Some people love teaching. Some people love caregiving. There's something for everyone. Being artistic. I'm not artistic, so that couldn't get my noodle going. But
stick figures are your favorite. Listen, it's okay.
I mean, stick figures are a stretch. Like, honestly, like, the fact that, like, Photoshop and, like, the fact that I could just copy and paste things now, like, I was like, where was all this when I was a kid and you had to, like, draw things because all the pictures were so pixelated? Like, these kids don't know how good they have it.
Oh, baby. It's like on a whole nother level. It's like spell check. Oh, you have spell check now? Oh, we didn't have that back in the day. It was literally like you misspelled it and you got points off. Like, that was it.
Like, I had word art and, like, that was as fancy as, like, my presentations could get. Those little word art,
yes, yes, and the weird colors. Like, none of the colors really went along with anything. It's just like random, like neon green. We're gonna throw in there. Okay.
100%. And, like, that's what I had. And so now, like, with the kids getting to be all fancy, like, artistry is not my ministry. But it's just really great to say, like, as worn out as I am, like, I love it, and I find such joy in doing it. I could do it for another 80 years. And I never have had a job where I felt like I could say that, where I'm like, I am dead tired. And some days I hate everyone and everything, but I'm waking up tomorrow and I get to do it all over again. And that is such a blessing.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. Well, Stephanie, I want to say thank you so much for sharing with us today. To the ladies who are watching, thank you so much for watching this episode of Rise and Chime. I hope that you all have a great week. Be sure to follow Stephanie on Instagram and social media, and I hope that you all have a great week. Remember to keep shining, sis.